The humble beginnings. In the quiet town of French Lick, Indiana, a boy named Larry Bird was born into a world far removed from the dazzling lights of professional basketball arenas. Life in this small community was simple, defined by hard work, modest dreams, and a deep connection to family and neighbors. Larry's early years were shaped by the rhythms of rural life. Long days spent outdoors, chasing a ball with friends on cracked pavement courts, and listening to his father's stories after dinner. Though the town was small, Larry's dreams were anything but. From the very beginning, Larry showed a natural affinity for basketball. He wasn't the fastest or the strongest on the court, but there was something different about the way he moved. Calm, calculated, and fiercely determined. He could see plays before they unfolded and had a sixth sense for the game's flow. His teammates sometimes called him Bird for his quick reflexes and soaring shots, a nickname that would soon become legend. But beneath this talent was a boy struggling with the weight of expectations and self-doubt. Larry's family was far from wealthy. Money was tight, and luxuries were scarce. Basketball shoes were worn down to the soles, and the gymnasium where Larry practiced was far from the polished courts of big cities. Many saw him as just another small-town kid with a dream too big for his surroundings. His height was average, his style unflashy, and in a state obsessed with basketball stars, he seemed ordinary. Yet, Larry's greatest strength lay in his relentless work ethic. He stayed after practice, shooting hundreds of free throws, running endless drills, and studying his opponents. For Larry, talent was only the starting point. Hard work was the true currency. High school brought new challenges. At Springs Valley High, Larry was the heart of the basketball team, but the road was never easy. Rival teams underestimated him. Coaches doubted whether he had what it took to succeed beyond his local court. But every game was an opportunity for Larry to prove himself. His quiet confidence grew with each basket scored and every rebound grabbed. Slowly, his name began to spread beyond French Lick, whispered in gymnasiums and local newspapers alike. Still, the question lingered. Could Larry Bird break free from the limits of his small-town origins and make a name for himself on a larger stage? The world of college basketball was competitive, filled with bigger, faster, and flashier players. Larry knew the path ahead would test him in ways he had never imagined. The central conflict of his story was clear, not just to outplay others but to outwork the doubt inside himself and the skepticism of those around him. By the time graduation neared, Larry's determination had transformed into a quiet resolve. He was no longer just the kid from French Lick. He was a young man ready to chase a dream that would demand everything he had. The journey to greatness would not be paved with luck or easy victories, but forged in the fires of perseverance, sacrifice, and unwavering belief. As Larry prepared to step onto the college court for the first time, the stakes were higher than ever. This was the moment where the boy from a small town had to become the man who could change the game forever. And so, with a heart full of hope and a mind sharp as ever, Larry Bird's story was only just beginning. Rise to stardom, college and NBA beginnings. Larry Bird stepped onto the court at Indiana State University carrying more than just a basketball. He bore the hopes of a small town and the weight of his own relentless ambition. The college arena was vast, filled with roaring crowds and fierce competitors who had long been the favorites in the national spotlight. Yet, Larry was undeterred. Here, his skills would be tested like never before, and his true character would begin to shine. At Indiana State, Larry quickly became the team's cornerstone, a leader whose calm presence steadied his teammates in moments of pressure. His style was unpretentious but effective. Sharp shooting, intelligent passing, and an uncanny ability to read the flow of the game. Coaches marveled not just at his talent, but at his work ethic, which remained as intense as ever. While others rested, Larry practiced tirelessly, driven by a quiet confidence that he was meant for something greater. The 1979 NCAA championship game was the stage where Larry Bird's story intersected with destiny. Facing off against Michigan State's Magic Johnson, their rivalry instantly captured the nation's imagination. It was more than a basketball game, it was a battle of wills between two contrasting styles and personalities. Magic, flashy and charismatic, symbolized a new wave of basketball brilliance, while Larry, with his old-school grit and unyielding determination, represented a steadfast work ethic and humble roots. The game itself was a thrilling spectacle, a tug-of-war that swung back and forth with every basket. Larry's every move was scrutinized under the unforgiving lights of national television. For a moment, It seemed his small-town story might fall short against Magic's dazzling plays. But Larry's resilience never faltered. Though Indiana State would eventually lose, Larry Bird's performance cemented his reputation as a player who thrived under pressure and refused to be overshadowed. The NBA draft soon followed, and Larry's name was called by the Boston Celtics, a team with a storied past and demanding fanbase. The Celtics were not just drafting a player, they were welcoming a symbol of hope, a man who could restore their glory. Yet, Larry faced skepticism. Critics questioned whether his skills would translate to the faster, more physical pro game. Would his quiet determination be enough to carry him through the relentless grind of the NBA? From his very first season, Larry began to answer those doubts with quiet defiance. His style, marked by sharp shooting, tough defense, and relentless hustle, earned the respect of teammates and opponents alike. But perhaps the most compelling chapter of his early career was the emergence of a fierce rivalry with Magic Johnson, now playing for the Los Angeles Lakers. Their battles on the court became legendary, each game a microcosm of the larger story. Two men pushing each other to extraordinary heights, embodying the soul of a sport in transition. Larry's journey was far from smooth. The physical demands of the NBA tested him, and the pressure to perform weighed heavily. But every challenge fueled his desire to prove that hard work and heart could triumph over raw talent and flashiness. With every basket scored and every victory earned, Larry Bird was transforming from a small-town underdog into an enduring icon. As the seasons passed, it became clear, Larry's story was not just about basketball. It was about resilience, rivalry, and the relentless pursuit of greatness. And with his legend growing, the game, and the world, would never be the same. Legacy of a legend, achievements and challenges. Larry Bird's name soon became synonymous with excellence, a symbol of what relentless dedication and quiet confidence could achieve. Throughout the 1980s, Bird not only transformed the Boston Celtics into a basketball powerhouse but also reshaped the very culture of the NBA. His accolades piled up: 3 Most Valuable Player awards, 3 NBA championships, and countless unforgettable moments that defined an era. But behind the glory lay a story of struggle, resilience, and fierce determination. Bird's rivalry with Magic Johnson was more than just a competition. It was a defining narrative of the decade. Their battles, both on and off the court, captured the imagination of millions. Where Magic brought flair and flamboyance, Larry countered with precision and grit. Their contrasting styles elevated each other's game, driving both men to extraordinary heights. Yet, beneath this rivalry blossomed a deep mutual respect and friendship that transcended the sport. It was a reminder that greatness was often forged in the crucible of competition. Despite his successes, Bird's journey was marked by relentless physical challenges. Years of battling bigger, stronger opponents had taken a toll on his body. Chronic back problems and injuries threatened to cut short a career that still had so much to offer. Yet, Larry's mental toughness remained unshaken. Every setback was met with the same fierce resolve that had carried him from the courts of French Lick. He played through pain and fatigue, never willing to let his team, or his fans, down. Off the court, Larry Bird's impact was equally profound. Known for his straightforward demeanor and sharp wit, he embodied a leadership style that was both demanding and inspiring. He pushed his teammates to be better, held himself to the highest standards, and set an example of professionalism rarely seen in sports. His influence extended beyond basketball, inspiring a generation to believe that hard work and humility could carve out a legacy greater than any individual achievement. Stories of Bird's competitive spirit became legendary. Opponents recall his icy stare before crucial free throws, his relentless trash talk, and the way he could intimidate without saying a word. But those who knew him best spoke of a man who valued loyalty, integrity, and friendship above all. Larry Bird was not just a player. He was a symbol of perseverance and character. As Bird's playing days wound down, the basketball world began to recognize the full scope of his legacy. He was more than a star. He was a transformative figure who helped usher the NBA into a new era. His style, equal parts skill, intelligence, and heart, became a blueprint for aspiring players. And though injuries eventually forced him off the court, Larry's story was far from over. The question that lingered was no longer about his ability to play, but about the impact he would leave behind. How would Larry Bird's legend endure beyond the hardwood? What lessons would his journey impart to those who followed? As the curtain closed on his playing career, one thing was certain: Larry Bird had secured his place not only as one of basketball's greatest but as a timeless icon whose influence would echo for decades. And yet, the story was far from finished. Beyond the court, Bird's life after basketball. When Larry Bird finally stepped away from the court, many wondered what the future held for a man whose identity had long been tied to basketball's fiercest battles. Retirement marked not an end, but a new beginning, one where Larry would redefine his role within the sport and continue to shape its future in ways no one could have predicted. Transitioning from player to coach and executive, Bird faced fresh challenges. The physical demands may have eased, but the pressure to succeed in a new arena was just as intense. As head coach of the Indiana Pacers, Larry brought the same grit, intelligence, and determination that had made him a legendary player. His leadership style evolved, now tempered with patience and a deeper understanding of the game from the sidelines. While the spotlight shifted away from personal glory, Larry's impact grew, guiding young players and shaping team dynamics with unwavering commitment. Bird's time as an executive further cemented his legacy. He demonstrated a keen eye for talent and a strategic mind, building teams that could compete at the highest level. Unlike many former athletes who fade into the background, Larry Bird remained deeply involved, a testament to his enduring passion